One of the biggest themes in the Buffyverse is choice, and apart from Buffy, no character reflects this idea more than Angel. Over the past few years, it has become increasingly common to hear Angel dismissed as boring and lacking in personality and character development, especially in his 3 seasons over on Buffy. And while he may not be as flashy or as outwardly demonstrative as other characters, his rich backstory, paired with both his internal and external conflicts, create a fascinating and uniquely complex character. Once a man, then a vampire cursed with a soul, his entire existence until Buffy is defined by a lack of choice. In Becoming Part 1, Whistler compares Angel's transformation and Buffy's calling, mirroring the similarities between two people whose lives were forever changed by circumstances out of their control. But it is that recognition of changed destiny and shared grief over the death of a future once longed for that draws Angel to Buffy. Her strength and courage amidst her new path sparks something in Angel, and for the first time, he makes a choice.
I want to become someone.
This is what makes it so tragic when the very next episode, both Buffy and Angel are once again forced to deal with the consequences of the roles they have been given. But just as Whistler said, the big moments, while inevitable, don't define who we are. It's the choices we make afterwards that define us. In Season 3, Buffy shows who she is when she makes the choice to take up the mantle of Slayer once again. Torn out of hell by some unknown force, we see Angel's desire to fight his nature as he clings to Buffy, his symbol of hope and redemption. Yet as the season progresses, he begins to wrestle with the purposelessness of it all. How can he choose good when outside forces continue to step in? Does he even have the option of choice, or is it all meaningless?
No.
Everything comes to a breaking point and amends when the unkillable first evil, a representation of Angel's never ending fight, manipulates Angel with visions of his past victims and then speaks to the darkest parts of him, urging him to act on his impulses and bite Buffy, his metaphorical mission. In an act of despair and desperation, Angel decides that the best choice is to give up the fight and take himself out of the equation. Yet on that hilltop, Angel's perspective begins to shift. Evil will never be destroyed, and he may never redeem himself, but he can either let that knowledge bring him to despair, or he can get back up and use his power of choice to make a difference in the world. It is through this that Angel discovers his meaning and purpose in life.
Just this once. Let me be strong.
Strong is fighting. It's hard, and it's painful, and it's every day.
It is in this scene that the show begins to metaphorically separate Angel's mission from Buffy. While the rest of the season shows a more purposeful Angel, his vampiric nature and impulses continue to plague him with guilt over his relationship with Buffy and his place in her world. The show subtly conveys Angel's inner conflict over feeling unworthy through episodes like Enemies and Choices, until finally, in the prom, Angel makes another significant choice and breaks up with Buffy.
I'm trying to do what's right here, okay? I'm trying to think with my head instead of my heart.
Heart? You have a heart? It isn't even beating.
2 episodes later, and the fears whispered in his ears by the first evil become reality as he nearly kills Buffy after drinking her blood. Still desiring to do good, yet unsure of where he belongs, Angel leaves Sunnydale and Buffy, his mission as her guide supposedly complete. Except in Angel's mind it isn't. In the Dark reveals that Angel still longs for Buffy and metaphorically still has not fully accepted his mission apart from her. He rejects the Ring of Amara and the synthetic redemption it would offer him, choosing instead to wait and earn the real thing. In doing so, he takes the first major step apart from Buffy in owning his fight against evil. Then I Will Remember You happens, and Angel is suddenly faced with his biggest choice yet: live a human life with Buffy and risk her death, or take up the weight of a cursed soul once again.
Can you carry that burden?
Ultimately, he chooses to carry not only the burden of his torment, but hers as well in the heart-wrenching memory of a life that could have been. And while his desire is always to protect and love Buffy, his sacrifice is no longer just for her, but for the innocent people he now sees as his mission.
How can we be together if the cost is your life? Or the lives of others?
The man whose life has been defined by a lack of choice, when faced with everything he could ever want, uses his freedom to sacrifice it all for the sake of the world. In making his decision, Angel owns his autonomy, embraces his mission, and proves that it is not his past that defines him, but his choices. He may not have chosen a soul, but in I Will Remember You, Angel proves that he has earned his, and he does so again and again and again.